Everyone, it is TexAgs Rewind presented by T-Mobile, and our thanks to T-Mobile. And they want to remind you to visit T-Mobile.com/acrossamerica to learn more about how you can get value and coverage with T-Mobile. Go do that right now. And also watch this rewind because it was a loaded show. We had a Billy Lucci phone call. We had to talk about the Zach Calzada transfer. Billy called in, gave us his thoughts on the now and the future, so we appreciate him. And also the Go Hour. We did focus heavily on Zach's departure, what it means as we look ahead. Logan Lee stopped by studio. We had to talk some hoops out there with this game today. It was supposed to be against Tulane. That game has been canceled because of COVID, so they'll have to play over the weekend at Oregon State. And Chris Landry on what Mike Elko going to Duke means for not only Duke, but what it means for Texas A&M. It is TexAgs Rewind. There's a lot of scrutiny that comes along with being a quarterback, especially in the SEC, especially when you're the backup quarterback of a team that had national championship aspirations. You know, there's a lot of scrutiny that comes with that, especially after you slay the dragon that is Alabama. You kind of want that to continue on, but in this new era of college football where a young man can leave at any point, well, at least once, for whatever reason he wants. He doesn't like the direction of the program. He doesn't think he's going to start. Whatever it may be, we can examine those reasons here on the show. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And OB, and we'll start the Go Hour with this, I think it's safe to assume that Zach knew he wasn't going to start next year, right? The writing was on the wall. And with Connor Wegman coming behind, I should say, and being here in, a little bit more than a month, he's probably looking for an opportunity to go somewhere he can play and maybe feel a little bit more appreciated because, again, when you are the one blamed for not being a national championship team, the scrutiny can get pretty tough for a young man who I think played his heart out and had some amazing moments we'll never forget.
Well, all that is true, but if you're going to go to a place where football is emphasized, probably almost everywhere in the SEC, or some of the more prominent programs across the nation, the reaction is not going to be any different. I've been to a lot of places, and if you play quarterback and struggle, people are going to complain. And
but that's they're going to complain no matter where you go. But I think this year, with people waiting so long and thinking this is the year to win our national championship, and you're the thing that people point at that you are an 8-4 team. I think if you polled most people, they would say this is a 10-2 team at worst with Haynes King at quarterback.
Could have been a 10-2 team with
Zach.
With Zach, yeah. I mean, I tend to agree with that because Zach played. Now, maybe I'd have to say 9-3 because Zach played so well against Alabama. I don't think you can just assume anybody else would have played to that level. Mm-hmm. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. But then you can come back and say it was some big mistakes by Calzada that were huge issues in Arkansas, in Ole Miss. I don't think he was bad, and could have been better, but I don't think he was bad against LSU. I don't think, you could point at that. You got to point to the defense not making that last stop. I think Mississippi State, he had some issues, but so did A&M's defense. So could you have been better? Yeah, you could have been. My point is I look at Nick Starkel, and, okay, it was going to be better at Arkansas. Well, it wasn't. And he ended up at San Jose State, a place where maybe football's not as emphasized.
Yep. Charean, we got to do our 3 Aggies.
And it's a good week.
That's Olin's fault. We're going to blame this on Olin, not on David.
I get blamed for everything anyway.
Charean, let's do it.
I'll be quick.
No, you can take your time.
Yeah, it's a good week. It's a good week. Christian Kirk and Ryan Tannehill aren't making the list and played terrific. But I'm going to start at number 3. Von Miller, last night, 4 tackles. He had that tackle for loss on 4th down that stopped one of the Cardinals' drives across midfield in the 4th quarter that was just huge. Nearly had his first sack early, nearly had his first sack on the last play. First play, last play. He nearly had sacks. Aaron Donald ended up getting both of those. But I think you're starting to see him come on and play really well for the Rams, and they're going to be happy to have him. They looked terrific last night. And now they look like a Super Bowl contender. Number 2, he seems like he's on the list every single week. Mike Evans, 6 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. He caught Tom Brady's pass that made Tom Brady the all-time completions record, breaking that of Drew Brees. Again, another record for Tom Brady that Mike Evans plays a part in. And we saw a couple of players that just look so familiar that we saw from when Johnny threw the ball up to him and he just made great catches. We saw that again with Tampa. People seem amazed by it, but all of us have seen it for so long. We're not amazed anymore. It's just what he does and who he is. And number 1, we're going to go with Myles Garrett. It's probably the signature play of his career, a sack or fumble recovery, returns it for a touchdown. Just a great play, and as it turns out, the Browns needed that. They had a big lead and held on to win by 2. So just a terrific performance by Myles Garrett. 15 sacks now. He's 1 behind T.J. Watt. Has some games coming up. It's going to be competitive for that Defensive Player of the Year. He's certainly in the conversations with Micah Parsons and T.J. Watt and Aaron Donald with what Aaron Donald did last night. But we got to go root for Myles to get a few more sacks over these last few weeks and win Defensive Player of the Year.
No matter who the opponent is, no matter how much they're either up or down on the scoreboard, Radford's going to bring it, and that is contagious. You're absolutely 100% correct. That is contagious, and this team will continue to learn from that.
And that defense, which is a calling card for Buzz teams, but what I'm seeing from them, and again, you've watched them way closer than I have over the years, is that it's going to be intensity 90 feet down the court, right, and force you into some bad spots. Conversely, the offense is going to take its time.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. I think if they can get themselves in a rhythm, playing faster is probably more advantageous for this team and just the style that they have. But they just need a knockdown shooter from the outside. If they could rely on one guy to make a shot every time he's open. And I'm not talking about a hand in his face. I'm just talking about an open shot because they get open shots. If they could find that, they would have a good combination of playing fast with pace and playing in the half court. Yep. Their half court is the struggle. That's the struggle for them, and they're having to really wind the clock down to make sure that they can stay in the game.
I feel that they still don't know what their starting lineup's going to be for conference play or the duration of the season, like their book, because they're still kind of tinkering with it. Is it because this team is so deep, if you will? And when I say deep, maybe they just have a lot of similar style of players.
Yep.
That's why it's still kind of mixing and matching.
I think yes, absolutely. The answer is yes. They're still trying to figure it out, but I do think it's because they have a lot of similar players, and that's why it can be so different. That's why they don't have to rely on just the 5 starters. If one of the starters isn't performing, Buzz is going to pull him out the first 2 or 3 minutes and put somebody else in, and because they have similar guys on the roster. It's whoever has the hot hand that night, whoever's playing well.
Right.
If you have 2 turnovers in the first 2 minutes, you better understand you're coming out, and the guy behind you, he understands, I better not turn the ball over. I have the same skill set, so let me go outperform the starter this game and see what happens.
Right.
And Buzz is able to, he's able, that's a good and a bad thing. It's good that you have a bunch of similar players that you can rotate in very easily and as often as you want, but it's bad because you don't have that go-to guy. You don't have a guy that you can rely on for 15 points and 6 or 7 rebounds a game. That's not hasn't been proven yet. There may be a guy on this roster that comes to the top and shows that they can do that and they're the go-to guy. But they don't have that right now, and that's hard as a coach and as a team.
Elko leads for Duke, okay? So any names out there that intrigue you to potentially take over there at the defensive coordinator spot?
Yeah, no, there's a number of them that I think are really good. I'm not real comfortable with there's one in particular that I've talked with them about that I think would be, but really 2 of them that I think would be really good fits. I think Jimbo's got a pretty good idea where he's going to go, but that's obviously timing wise he'll probably announce that. Well, I don't know when he's going to announce it. Let's just let him do it. But I'll just say this. He's got a pretty good handle on what he wants, what he needs, and who he can get.
So we're going to be in good hands is what you're saying to us.
I think so. And you never know. Do a lot of this coaching search stuff. The deal's not done till it's done. But I know certainly there are a couple of guys that I think would be really good fits that would pick things up well. And then obviously, we'll see if that works out. And I think the biggest thing is how everything is going to mesh with the staff. And I think things are progressing in a positive direction. I'll say that, not to be cryptic, but I'll leave it there for now.
Well, Chris, they took on some DCs this year that I think would consider an upgrade to come to Texas A&M. So if those candidates are out there or anywhere in college football, I think getting this potentially number one class and what's already in place could be a big gig. Thank you guys for watching. As a reminder, tomorrow at TexAgs.com/live, become a premium subscriber. You can watch our National Signing Day show. I don't know why I had to use the papers to, exclamate that point, but you want to watch that show. We're going to have an extra hour of the show at 7 a.m., but we'll have it all for you afterwards on YouTube for the first 2 hours of the show on The Zone as well. You can listen to the entire show on The Zone and on the CW8 in the Bryan College Station area. We'll have the first couple hours of the show as well. Want you to like, subscribe, comment, share, all the good stuff. Thanks for watching TexAgs Rewind presented by T-Mobile.